And she went to high school, ended up going to Lethbridge, where our father told her that one thing she could do in the big city was perhaps every week or as convenience allowed, attend a different church or service from a different denomination or a different set of worshipers to figure out that part of life on earth and in humanity. And then she went to Japan, didn't speak a word of Japanese, just dove into it, and was an educator. She went through the U of A here, and taught in Japan and wrote for one of the local papers and so on. And then lived in France and Australia. She continued as a teacher when she got back to Canada, and then did a business of her own where she allowed people to take full advantage of their brains and to make the most of their potential and different life skills. And then another career change that had her when Dad was killed. Tanya and my sister Zena both went to the farm and sat down with Mom and came up with the plan to keep going with the vision that Dad had for the winery. And Tanya became the chief bootlegger. She was officially the one going out and around the province selling the wine and introducing it to all different venues and stores and places. And so in November of this year, this is someone who is very, the whole way through, ultra health conscious and eating raw food and doing the cleanses and retreats and so on. But in November of 2011, was told that she had 1 to 6 months to live. So 2 months later, when I got the call from Kirsten, I thought maybe it would be more appropriate to have Tanya give this lecture. I would like to say that she's going to stand up here on stage, and I'm just the warm-up act. But and that was the reason for the 2 chairs. But as of say an hour ago or so, while she's still with us, and we're very grateful. We enjoyed a wonderful Christmas, and just the other weekend, she did her annual her Easter egg hunt. I was going to say tradition. Thank you, Alyssa, my daughter. She did the Easter egg hiding and setting the clues all around the farm, and let the cousins, the kids, go and find them. So while she could do all that, just today wasn't quite up to participating in terms of the last lecture part, but hopefully we'll see you up here on stage, Tanya, for the Q&A. That's bravery. That's someone who lived a life of being very focused on what she was contributing to the earth and to students everywhere around the world, doing so fearlessly in other countries where they were, at first she was not necessarily welcome, and then learned the language and so on, and then changed careers 2 or 3 times. For the younger among you in the audience, you'll understand, if you don't already, that you'll likely have n number of careers in your life. That seems hard maybe to comprehend because you've gone through big, huge investment in a faculty and the next percentage of your life, which is at a young age is a big percentage, 4, 5, 6 years. But you will probably actually all go through, the younger among you, a number of different careers. Anyhow, I asked Tanya, or what we would have been talking about if we were sitting here together, what would she be saying if she was on the stage right now? And among different points, I think the one that I would like you to take away, and it's also a little awkward to talk about because it's not, no one signed up on a title like that. No one signed up here to hear about religion or spirituality or God, and everyone has a very personal orientation to that. But the message would simply be along the lines of get good with that. Get good with that human enterprise and that set of thinking and philosophy, or that belief system, whatever it is for you, if you have one, or if you don't, figure out whether or not and how you might relate to that fact on your deathbed. When you can't assume that you'll wake up tomorrow morning, I can promise you, having talked with Tanya a fair amount in the last 6 months, I can promise you might want to have some clarity or peace of mind, or at least not be rushed in your thinking, the way it's okay to rush a lab set of results, or sorry, to the profs in the room, I'm sorry. It's good to, you might get away with some things that can be rushed, but that one is tough to rush. And it can be a little unsettling if you hadn't had it figured out. We can talk more about that in the Q&A. And part of it, the visual, or the set of stations at the back of the stage, is simply to say that if visually I was to start at this end of the room, and I was not quite naked, but a baby, little, and you pace through life acquiring experiences and relationships and ideas, going through things, and putting on an outfit. You end up layering your personality. Some systems of psychology, I think, call that the ego or whatnot. And you proceed through life, and you build up a pretty good head of steam, and you've established an outer coat. You've got a way that you want people to react with you, or to think of you, or when things are coming at you, rain, snow, or sleet, you have ways to defend yourself and have those things fall off. You might have things that contribute to your personality, or that are just something from your past that relate to your character, or where it was you grew up. And a lot of times now those come out more in traditional celebrations and traditional attire and so on. As the world gets more interconnected and global, I'm finding that you can go to the third world, where we do a lot of our business, and you wouldn't know whether or not you're dealing with people right here in from one of the cafeterias or classrooms at the U of A, or in really, really abject circumstances in a third world country. But as you hit the end of your life, and if you have the benefit of it being something that could be foreseen, or had a lot of lead time, wasn't coming as a surprise, then there will be a dismantling. There'll be a getting back to basics. If it's not rushed, it won't happen all at once, but you'll find yourself, whether there's a coffin or an urn at the end of that timeline, or some other, whatever your tradition is, you'll find yourself approaching that point on the spirituality issue, if you haven't had it sorted out, a little disconcerted. And so the takeaway would be, not tomorrow, not tonight even, not whenever, it's up to you, that would be part of the contribution of this last lecture. Not very academic, probably not said as eloquent, definitely not said as eloquently as Tanya would have said it, but there you go. So our time together is not something I'm going to try and drag out. I would rather head to Q&A. But what I would like to do first is bring both Mom is the +1, up on stage. Tanya, if you're able and willing. And then we'll do some Q&A that, should some of the things be pertinent to you guys. You've heard enough from me, you should hear from them. How about that? Would you guys like that, or? All right. Have a seat. There's the there's the +1, and there's Tanya. Mom said as I met her down there, she said, "I didn't know this was happening." And I'm trying to help Tanya get up the stairs, and she's saying, "Help, Mom." So, this is probably not only our last lecture, the last chores that we do together, the last of a lot of things. It's in a somewhat public forum, obviously. But I'm going to take questions from the audience. If any of you have thought of something that you would like me to clarify, or that you would have one of the ladies address instead. You've heard enough from me now. My takeaways for you are perspective is everything. And then the spirituality issue might be something that you would want to dwell on and explore before you hit the end of the end of the arc of life. And with that, we're going to make our way closer to the cocktails. But first, questions, if any. Oh. One over here in the middle.
This is specifically for Tanya. I was just wondering how your international experiences contributed to who you are as a person and what it taught you of life.